Welcome to my channel. Without further ado, let's jump right into it. I remember this funeral in Fresno, California. It was for a distant relative I didn't even know that well. My brother and I decided to go mostly because it felt like the right thing to do. Plus, we knew a bunch of our cousins and old friends would be there. So it wasn't just about the funeral, but catching up too. You know how it is with family gatherings. Somber at first, but as the hours pass, it turns into storytelling, jokes, and of course drinks. So we got there in the late afternoon. The service was respectful and honestly kind of beautiful. There was a Ken player playing a Ken near the casket, and it added this eerie, almost otherworldly vibe to the whole thing. I didn't think much of it at the time, but now, well, I'll get to that. By evening, the mood lightened. Everyone started gathering in one big room at the other side of the building. My cousins and some friends were all there, so we sat around, shared stories, and drank. I only drank a couple though because I was the driver that night and didn't want to get drunk. It was chill. We were laughing, talking about life, and just unwinding in that weird way you do after a heavy day. But as the night dragged on, people started heading home. By midnight, there were only a handful of us left. It was me, my brother, and a few cousins. We were just sitting there, still chatting and finishing up the last of the drinks. I remember feeling like the whole building had gotten quieter, almost too quiet. After a while, I couldn't ignore it anymore. I needed to pee. I had been drinking too much water and it was catching up with me, so I got up and told my brother I'd be right back. The bathroom wasn't far from the big room, just down a short hallway. When I stepped out of the room, though, I noticed something. At the far end of the hallway near the entrance of the funeral home, someone was standing there. They had their back to me, but something about the way they stood made my skin crawl. Their head was tilted to the side like at this weird, unnatural angle, and they weren't moving at all. I tried to shake it off. Maybe it was just someone waiting for a ride or something. I didn't want to stare too long and make it awkward, so I hurried to the bathroom. Once I got inside, I felt a little better. You know how you kind of convince yourself that you're just being paranoid? That's what I was doing. I went into one of the stalls, handled my business, and tried not to overthink, but then I heard it. A whistle. At first it was faint, like someone just barely blowing air through their lips. Then it got louder and I realized it wasn't just any whistle. It was the same tone from the king earlier, the one the king player had been playing near the casket. My heart sank. I froze right there in the stall, pants halfway up, trying to convince myself I was imagining it. Maybe it was just someone messing around. But then I noticed something else. The whistle wasn't coming from outside the bathroom, it was inside. I held my breath and listened. It was this slow, deliberate tone, like someone was walking around and whistling softly as they moved. It echoed in the bathroom, making it hard to tell where exactly it was coming from. I wanted to call out, but something stopped me. It was like a voice in my head telling me to stay quiet, so I just stood there barely breathing, waiting for it to stop, but it didn't stop. Instead, I heard footsteps, light, shuffling footsteps, like someone dragging their feet. They started near the sinks and then moved toward the stalls. I can't explain the fear I felt at that moment. It wasn't just being scared. It was like my body knew something was wrong on a level my brain couldn't process. The footsteps got closer and closer. Then they stopped right in front of my stall. I stared at the gap under the door, expecting to see someone's feet, but there was nothing there. Just silence. Then the whistle started again, louder this time. It was right outside the stall, and I swear I felt the sound vibrating in my chest. I couldn't take it anymore. I yanked the stall door open, ready to confront whoever or whatever was out there. But the bathroom was empty. No one was at the sinks, no one by the door, nothing. I froze. For a second I thought maybe I was imagining things, but the silence felt weird now, almost like something invisible was floating around. Fear started rising inside me, and I didn't know what to do. My brain was screaming at me to run, but another part of me was like, just act normal, pretend nothing's happening. So I did. I stepped out of the stall and went to the sink, trying to focus on washing my hands like it was no big deal. The sound of the water helped me a little, like grounding me or something. I thought maybe I could just shake it off. That's when I heard it again, the whistle. But this time it wasn't faint or far away. It was right near me, right inside the stall I had just left. My stomach dropped. My hands froze under the running water, and I felt this huge shiver run through my whole body. Slowly, like I couldn't stop myself, I turned to look at the stall. To my horror, I saw feet. They were sticking out from under the stall door, pointing directly at me. My chest tightened, and my legs felt like they might give out. The feet were bare, pale, and stiff. They weren't moving at all, but the way they were pointed made it clear. Whatever was in that stall was facing me, watching me. I couldn't take it. I didn't care if I looked crazy or not. I bolted out of there. When I got back to the big room, my brother and the cousins were still sitting around laughing and talking. They were too drunk to notice anything weird about me, which was fine. I didn't want to say anything anyway. What was I supposed to say, that I saw creepy feet in the bathroom? Instead, I sat down in a corner kind of behind my brother and the others, so they were like a shield. I didn't say a word. I just sat there trying to calm down, but my hands were shaking and I couldn't stop glancing toward the door, half expecting that figure to show up again. An hour passed like that. Eventually, we all decided it was time to go. Everyone was tired, and the room was starting to feel way too quiet. I got up quickly and headed for the car without looking back. My brother called after me, saying, "Wait up," but I didn't slow down. I just wanted to get out of there as fast as I could. "Wait up," he called again, sounding annoyed. By the third, "Wait up," something in his voice changed. It didn't sound like him anymore. I stopped and turned around, my heart racing. My brother was a few steps behind me, but that wasn't what caught my attention. Near the entrance of the funeral home, the figure was there again. This time, it wasn't just standing with its head tilted, it was pointing at me. The way its arms stretched out was wrong, like the joints didn't work the way they were supposed to. And even from a distance, I could feel its hollow eyes staring straight through me. I couldn't take it anymore. I spun around, ran to the car, and jumped inside, locking the doors. A minute later, my brother finally got in. "What's wrong with you?" he asked, laughing like it was no big deal. I didn't answer. As soon as he shut the door, I sped out of there, not looking back even once. To this day, I don't know what I saw or heard that night. I've told myself 100 times it was just my imagination or the night messing with my head. I haven't been back to that funeral ever since, and I don't think I ever will. Thank you for listening to this story. I will see you in the next video.